And when I need to cast the role of a young college student who has experienced mental illness himself and in his family, who was forced to grow faster than anticipated, who was exposed to behavior that could crush anyone's spirit, and who then comes out the other side with a renewed vigor for life and happiness, eager to inspire others to do the same, I reach out to Sean Campbell. I met Sean back in 2007 at our first Berkeley Community College event. Sean had already written a book and begun his career as an inspirational speaker and pitched his services to me like a seasoned veteran. But these services were admirable. Sean wanted to make a difference. He wanted to tell his story to others. And I've seen firsthand the effect that that has. I've seen people come up to Sean after a presentation, eager to compare war stories, what they might not have shared with their parents or even their friends, but they ran to share it with you, Sean. And by telling his story so honestly and so completely, Sean gives others permission to do the same. And that is nothing less than extraordinary. And so it is with great pleasure that we present the Ambassador Award for Individuals and Families to Sean Campbell.
Yeah, 2 years ago, I actually sat in the audience at the Ambassador Awards, the last Ambassador Awards, and as a guest. At the time, I had never openly spoken in front of a large group of people about my experiences with mental illness. And Celina didn't even know my name, but yes, I went up to her and made a pitch. And in the last 2 years, well, I knew that I wanted Celina to A, know my name, and B, I wanted her to know what I stood for. And we have collaborated on numerous occasions. I think we've spoken on 4 or 5 panels now.
Yeah.
And it's been wonderful, and I thank Celina and the New Jersey Governor's Council on Mental Health Stigma and all the mental health advocates in New Jersey who have helped me be able to stand here today. And I do want to make some remarks about stigma, and to do so, I also want to thank my father, because he is a primary reason why I'm so dedicated to this mission. My father has alcoholism and bipolar disorder and is currently serving a 4.5-year prison sentence in New Jersey State Prison for repeat DUI offenses. And I grew up in a household led by him, and his mental illness went untreated throughout my childhood and throughout his life. And I have experienced abuse and trauma, witnessed infidelity and violence, been in life-threatening situations, been destabilized by foreclosure and financial woes, and even made visits to jail on Father's Day and Thanksgiving. But I have also seen my father in a more positive light, in a state of wellness, as a man who volunteered his time and donated money to the community, as a person who gave back to the world, who was a successful entrepreneur, who was a father who managed my Little League baseball teams, and a friend who I share many wonderful memories with, and someone who in his finer hours demonstrates compassion, kindness, and generosity, even though all those other experiences have happened to me as a result of his illness. But I'd like to think that I learned those qualities, that kindness, that compassion, that generosity from him. And it's funny because out of my 2 parents, and I don't know if my mother would like me saying this, but out of my 2 parents, now that I'm in young adulthood, I think I'm more like him than I am like my mother for whatever reason. And I think that's a good thing. And because I live in a mindset without stigma, I can stand here and comfortably announce and declare that I am just like my mentally ill father in the very best of ways. Perhaps the nicest thing my father ever did for me was offer me the opportunity to go to therapy. Even though he has never successfully, to this day at least, treated his mental illness, he saw me at 15 years old and realized that I needed help. He saw that I was stressed and decided that I needed a place to deal with my stress and took the initiative to find me therapy. And he envisioned, I never cry, I'm going to get choked up here. He envisioned a world without stigma for me. One where I had every opportunity in the world to go out and be a mentally stable and healthy individual regardless of circumstance. Because in many ways he envisioned or wanted more for me than he could give himself. Because at the stage where he was at least at that point, and unfortunately still, to be able to break down the complex layers of his illness and to seek help and break himself down in order to build himself back up would evoke more stigma and shame than he could probably bear. Yes, he was a victim to stigma, is a victim to stigma, and did not want the same for me. And fortunately, I've been able to pass along my message to, it's got to be at least 20, 30,000 young adults and adults across the country in so far 9 different states and hopefully growing over 20 states within the next few months. Because I envision a world without stigma. And I work hard and strive to achieve this world because I know that if my father lived in this world when he experienced his first moment of need many years ago, that he would have treated his issues, that he would be a consistently productive member of society and a consistently present father, and that my 14-year-old brother and I would not be visiting our father behind a glass pane in prison. So thank you, and I look forward to our continued collaboration to erase the stigma that clouds our beautiful world. Thank you. Well, they awarded me for my work in speaking, so I had to say something.
Like I said, this is a great room.